Is it live? Good afternoon. I'm David Hendricks with the Human Rights Campaign in Orange County, and I'm very pleased to have the turnout we have today. It's a very important election for all of us, for equality voters. I've lived in this district since 1982, had many incarnations of the district itself as well as many candidates, and this is the first time that we've had an equality candidate that we can get behind and support. And you'll be introduced to Harley Rouda here yet today. It's important for us at Human Rights Campaign as equality voters that we have candidates who express and support our values. Go to Harley's website. You'll find out he is an early supporter of the Equality Amendment, which is critical to us nationally. He has many support issues in regards to LGBTQ issues, of which we have a very strong proponent. But more importantly, he will support and be the leader for all of Orange County and all of the western United States. So with that today, I'd like to introduce my co-chair, Michelle Bentcliffe, who's here today for Human Rights Campaign, and then you'll see a number of the Human Rights Campaign members as well as our steering committee members, and we're all highly committed to this campaign and the other 3 campaigns in Orange County that we're going to be out walking precincts, making phone calls, and bringing all of our membership capabilities and strengths to make people aware of what's really important in this election. And I'm very pleased today to have the privilege to introduce to you Chad Griffin, the president of the Human Rights Campaign. He's here from our D.C. office along with 4 or 5 other supporters who've been field working with us during the primaries, as well as will be here committed all the way through election. So we'll be looking forward to meeting all of you personally and to working with you, introducing our members. But most importantly, here's Chad.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for your leadership, and I want to thank first and foremost all of you for being here on this very warm summer day on a Friday to help us make history and to help us take back this country and to help us ensure that we have a sane, pro-equality majority in the House of Representatives so that ultimately we can pull the emergency brake on this president, this vice president, and their extreme agenda. I've said this a lot, but it's very easy these days to get distracted by all that comes out of the White House and all that comes out on Capitol Hill. This president and vice president are tweeting every minute, every second, every day, every week, nonstop, attacking LGBTQ people, attacking immigrants, attacking Muslims, attacking women. The list goes on and on and on. But we cannot get distracted by what he does day in and day out. Do you know what he's really scared of? He's scared of all of you. He's scared of you. You are the grassroots army that are going to make damn sure that we pull that emergency brake come November. So don't get distracted by what Donald Trump's doing or Mike Pence is doing or the far, far right-wing, out-of-touch member of Congress from this district is doing. Focus on what you can impact. Focus on the change you can make. Now, I don't have to tell you this, but the member of Congress that currently represents this district and has for more than 2 decades could not be more out of touch with the American electorate, could not be more out of touch with the residents and voters of this district. He is extreme on every issue across the board, but for a moment, let's just talk about his record on LGBTQ issues. Every single Congress, the Human Rights Campaign scores. We actually give a score. Just as if we were all back in high school or college, we grade every member of Congress on what they do, how they vote, what they co-sponsor. It is really hard to get a 0 out of 100. Congressman Rohrabacher had a 0 4 years ago. The last Congress, he actually upped that to a 16. That's out of 100. That is a fail. Do you know how hard you have to work to get such a low score? You're not just against marriage equality as he is. You're not just against non-discrimination protections as he is. You're not just against open service in the military as he is. You're against everything across the board. You not only vote the wrong way, but you co-sponsor all of our opponents' efforts to undermine equality. Now, one thing I'll give the congressman, sometimes he's actually honest, right? Sometimes he actually says what he believes. And he did it again the other day. In what he thought was a private conversation, he said that today, it's 2018, not 1918. It's 2018. And the member of Congress representing all of you said that he thought today it should be perfectly legal to deny housing to someone simply because of who they are, because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. That is wrong. We cannot let that stand, and that is exactly why each and every one of you are here. Let me tell you this. There are more than 1.5 million LGBTQ voters right here in the state of California. That means in this very district, in the 48th, there are thousands of LGBTQ voters right here in this district. When we show up, and when we show up with our allies across social justice movements, we win elections. We determine the outcome elections. We elect pro-equality champions, and we oust hateful extremists. You add our pro-equality allies to that, and we're the majority here in this district, in this state, and around this country. And that is why I am so proud today to say that HRC is endorsing not just someone who happens to be better than the current member of Congress, a business person, a philanthropist who for his entire career has stood up for equal justice and for the equal dignity of each and every person, including LGBTQ people. The Human Rights Campaign is so excited to work with each and every one of you to make certain that come November, we knock on every door, we make every phone call, we text every possible voter, and ensure that we make damn sure that we make history and we send a message to voters all across this district, all around this state, all the way to the White House, by sending the grandest pro-equality champion that we have ever had running in this district. It is our honor to endorse you. Please join me in thanking Harley Rouda for his incredible support, the next member of Congress from the 48th District, and one of our next votes for the Equality Act in the House of Representatives.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will tell you, I'm truly honored and humbled to have the Human Rights Campaign support. Thank you, Chad. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to the best volunteers in the country. You guys are phenomenal. It was almost 40 years ago that HRC was founded with the goal of protecting the rights of LGBTQ individuals, fighting discrimination at every chance they could. They have done it successfully for 40 years. But the one thing we have seen, with Trump being elected and those who support him, we have a long way to go. We have further to go than we thought we needed to go. And that's why it's so important that we take up this fight every day. And that's also why I am committed on day one in Congress to signing the Equality Act. But that's not enough. The Equality Act is a piece of legislation, and it tells people what they can do and what they can't do, but it does not automatically change hearts and minds. That's our job. That's our elected leaders' jobs. That is the leaders in our communities' jobs. And that's why we need to make sure that we carry this message to every aspect of government, every school, every university, every business, to make sure that discrimination is met head on and eliminated. I have to pull this out because the guy I'm running with, as Chad pointed out, has a really bad history. And apparently a 0 rating that went to a 16 rating out of 100. And usually when you do that bad, you're held back and have to repeat. But we don't want that. We'd prefer that he be expelled. So here's Dana's record, and his record is he voted no on expanded federal hate crime laws to include crimes based on sexual orientation. He voted yes on banning gay adoptions in D.C. He voted no on prohibiting job discrimination based on sexual orientation. He voted yes on constitutionally defining marriage as one man and one woman. He voted yes on constitutional amendment banning same-sex marriage. And most recently, he had the audacity in front of the National Association of Realtors in a request to have LGBTQ status provided as a protected class, just as 22 states currently have. And his position was no. If people do not want to sell their homes to gays and lesbians, as he said, then they shouldn't have to. And that the line for discrimination is where it needs to be. We don't need to move it any further. I find those comments outlandish. The idea that any kind of discrimination is acceptable is unacceptable. And we must fight every inch of the way and get him out. The last thing I'll share with you, we just came through a primary. There were 16 people in the primary, and there's 2 left in our jungle primary here in California. And we won by 125 votes to take on Dana Rohrabacher in November. It's clear to me that every dollar raised, every door knocked, every phone call made, every endorsement we receive, every tweet made, retweet, social media post, it matters. And these interns that are here that are fighting this great fight, and HRC, who is bringing people to this district to help knock on doors, this is truly the difference between winning and losing. And because of you, I'm confident Dana Rohrabacher will have his retirement papers on November 6th. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce an equality voter, Varsha.
Hi everyone, I'm Varsha Mehta. I'm a senior at Yale University and I'm currently working on Harley Rouda's campaign for Congress. Now, while I'm on the East Coast for school, I can assure you that I grew up in the heart of this district. I was born and raised here in Huntington Beach. And so I know just how important this election is. I came back to Orange County for opportunities like this, opportunities to fight for change and elect a candidate who holds the values that I and the majority of Americans believe in concerning freedom, equality, and opportunity. Now, thank you. Now, I'm 20 years old, so that means that Dana Rohrabacher has been my representative for technically my entire life. But what I can tell you is that he has not represented my beliefs, my values, or my vision for this country one day of his career. In our country, a clear majority of Americans support marriage equality. It's just common sense. Yet, Dana Rohrabacher has tried 3 separate times to put discrimination into our Constitution to outlaw same-sex marriage. And the same goes for his policies on non-discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. 70% of Americans support the Equality Act. It has support across all 50 states. But he has tried to ban measures that would implement non-discrimination policies, and he said just months ago that it was okay to discriminate on housing against the LGBTQ community. Now, you can see from his past and from his policies that Rohrabacher does not believe that we are all created equal. And his hateful rhetoric, his discrimination, his homophobia, that's not just an attack on the LGBTQ community. That's an attack on all of us and on American values. And that's why, as an equality voter, I'm proud to support Harley Rouda for Congress. He has pledged to be an ally in the fight to end discrimination, and as he said, on day 1, he's putting his name on the Equality Act, and he's going to fight for federal protection for the LGBTQ community. Orange County is changing, and we need someone that represents our beliefs, the belief that civil rights are rights. They're fundamental. They're bestowed on us regardless of race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. And I believe that Harley Rouda will go into Congress and fight for all of us. This election and Harley Rouda's candidacy is an opportunity for all of us to fight for what we believe in and to make sure that someone is elected who represents our values, truly American values of inclusivity, freedom, and equality.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words. I want us to really move and get right back to telephones and to doing all of the work to make damn sure that we send you to the United States Congress. But there's one other thing that I want to say. Between now and the election, Donald Trump, Dana Rohrabacher, and Mike Pence are going to say and do a lot of hateful things between now and then. And each time they do, instead of getting mad and angry and going crazy and screaming like I know we're all driven to do sometimes these days, use it as an opportunity to say, I'm going to knock on 10 more doors. I'm going to make 10 more phone calls. I'm going to donate $10 more every day between now and the election or whatever you can afford, because that's what they're scared of. That's how we win, and that's how we send Harley Rouda to the United States Congress. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Okay, great.